Anyone that has been following the Photo Cinematica Instagram account for some time will know that I do a small feature called Book Club, where I share book recommendations that I think the community will like. I thought I'd bring this to YouTube. So this is Book Club Vol.1. Links to the books will be in the description below if you do want to check one of these out and get one for yourself. Some of these are affiliate links, so if you purchase through these links, then a small percentage will come back and help support the channel. So thank you in advance for anyone who does. But yeah, let's get into it. So this is Cape Light by Joel Meyerowitz. This is actually the first photo book I ever bought. I went to an exhibition after seeing this photo and immediately fell in love with his work. He's one of my favourite photographers, primarily known for his street photography work. I think he went through a period of self-reflection and realised there was only so much information you could capture on 35mm on the street, so he started using an 8x10 large format camera and started taking these amazing landscapes on Cape Cod. He would shoot long exposures and kind of let the light interact with whatever he put inside the composition, and they resulted in these like beautiful, highly detailed scenes. Some of the photos he made are incredibly cinematic, some of them are more intimate moments of portraits with friends or people he's come across. Most of the photos in here are amazing, but there's a sequence of about 3 or 4 that just blew me away, which is something I love about looking through photo books. When there's a sequence of images that they just get better and better after each other. It's something that I think you can only experience looking through a photo book. There's also a great interview at the beginning where he talks about the process of shooting large format and the way he kind of slowed down his work to create these images in comparison to the fast-paced environment of shooting on the street, which has definitely helped me and influenced me in some of the work that I shoot. So this being the first book has definitely set a tone for the rest of the photo books that I bought after that. But I love it, yeah, one of my favourite books. Okay, next up, number 2, Sunny Side by James Perrolls. This book's really cool because when I first thought about starting the Instagram account Photo Cinematica, I had the idea of shooting 35mm stills in a loose narrative to kind of tell a story that would feel like the images were from a movie. And this essentially is what this book is, but on a much higher level than I was able to do back then. So this book is a collaboration between James and a stylist called Yon Yu and an illustrator called Tallulah Fontaine. They have created this world with 2 characters and a whole story that is told through these pictures, and it kind of reads like a movie. It's really cool how it's done. James has a really strong style, which kind of reminds me of filmmakers like Yorgos Lanthimos, who did The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer. The way he kind of sets up like a wide scene and lets his characters and subjects kind of interact and play within it. But yeah, as I said, the book reads like a movie. I mean, it even opens with an establishing shot, and then, I mean, the rest of the book is kind of up to you to determine what the story's about and what's happening between these 2 characters. But yeah, overall I think it's just the perfect balance of narrative storytelling and photographic style, so very excited to see more from James. Next up is Jeff Bridges' Pictures, Volume 2. So this book was recommended to me by my friend Felix after a conversation with him about like panoramic cameras. He told me that the actor Jeff Bridges uses a panoramic camera for all of his kind of behind the scenes on all the movies that he works on, and it's just a really interesting look into the world of filmmaking. It kind of demystifies it a little bit. Sometimes I think you can have the impression that movie sets are all business and not a relaxed environment, but this book I think shows you the opposite. The camera he shoots on is called a wide lux. It's a medium format camera which shoots with a moving shutter from one side to the other. It's almost like a 180-degree angle, and he shoots on primarily black and white film, so you get these gritty, ultra-wide, candid moments. I think this book shows you what like a chilled guy he is, but also like artistic and humorous, and he just seems like a cool guy to hang out with. So if you're a filmmaker, photographer, or you like the movie Tron, check this one out. Book 4 is Through a Different Lens, Stanley Kubrick Photographs. So I hope I wouldn't have to give you an introduction into who Stanley Kubrick is, but in case you don't know, I will tell you a little bit about him. He is the filmmaker, the director who made such films as 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Eyes Wide Shut, those kind of movies. But before he became the iconic filmmaker that we know today, he was also a prolific photographer from a very young age. At 17, he was working for Look magazine in the 40s and 50s, and he would be sent out on assignment shooting documentary work for the magazine. And I think it's through this work that he learned the art for storytelling. There's a well-known story of how he got the job at the magazine. In 1945, after Roosevelt died, he came across this newspaper vendor who was just kind of going about his day. He knew that he wanted to take a picture of him, but that it probably wasn't dramatic enough. So he asked him to kind of slump down, put his head in his hands, and pose for him as he took the picture. The photo then became a story of a newspaper vendor saddened by the president's death, which he then took to the magazine, and they printed it and bought it as their first picture from Kubrick. And I think it just kind of shows you what strong storytelling ability he had from such a young age, and it then moved throughout his career. There's just so much work in here that covers such a broad range of subjects. It's no wonder that 4 years after he started working for the magazine, he then made his first feature film, because he would have been so well versed in storytelling that it must have felt so natural for him. So I think if you're a documentary filmmaker, documentary photographer, street photographer, I think this one could be for you. And lastly, we have Dreams in Technicolor by Lewis Daisy. Lewis has been featured on the Photo Cinematica Instagram account before, and during lockdown he kindly sent me this book, and I really enjoyed looking through it. But essentially it's a collection of images that almost reads kind of like a travel diary. It kind of spans from places such as Paris, Australia, Vancouver, and a lot of it's actually in using double exposure, which for me kind of adds to the dreamy element. But I like how in a movie a double exposure is like a cross dissolving from one time period to another. Double exposures in photography kind of have like a similar feel to them. Sometimes you don't know where the first image begins and the second image ends. It's kind of abstract and telling two different stories or two different moods at the same time. There's so many intimate moments throughout the book, even some self-portraits. Yeah, really cool, really enjoyed this one. Thank you, Lewis, for sending it to me. Check it out below, you guys won't be disappointed. I hope you guys have found maybe a book or two that you fancy checking out. I'm looking for more for future episodes, so if you have any, let me know in the comments. Two that I'm thinking of including in the future are Justine Kurland's Girl Pictures and Gordon Park's The Atmosphere of Crime, two that I've kind of had my eye on for a while, so hopefully I can include those in some future videos. But yeah, that's it from me. Take care, and I will see you soon.